the suppression of the use of marijuana and of the forces lurking behind it are the most important jobs this department is now engaged in. In 1930, the records on marijuana in the Washington office of the Narcotics Division scarcely filled a small folder like this. Today, they fill cabinets.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, Coloradians and everyone that's smart enough to listen from the outside.
It's one of the most amazing plants we've ever discovered.
The pot party, the trippers, the grasshoppers, the hip ones, all gathered in secrecy and flying high as a kite.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to another week of Stone d'Appetit. If this is your first time tuning in because you've been following along for our March Madness, welcome. I'm your host, Kip Wilson, a local foodie stoner that travels around the city getting stoned and eating up a bunch of food, always trying to do our best to at least pay for our food so that we can give an honest review. I'm usually joined on this podcast by one of my best friends and a longtime confidant, and Christopher Byard. How are you today, CB?
Spectacular.
Awesome. We've got a great episode for y'all today, but before we do that, let's ask Eve how she's doing on the ones and twos. Producer Eve, how are we?
I'm okay. I'm a little tired.
It's the time change.
Probably.
But be excited. The spring is sprung. That means longer rounds
nice.
of golf, lots more masturbating in public, a lot less viewers. It's going to be a doozy, Chris.
Frozen drinks.
Frozen cocktails and frozen snacks are coming up. But before we dive into all the things on today's episode, including movie draft recap, Dune 2, Colorado news, our bowling snafu, best things we ate, and the March Madness tournament, I want to give a shout out to our sponsors over at Seed Money Consulting. Without them, none of this would be possible. They've been our financial advisory team for well over a year now, and whether or not you are looking to bring someone in-house or you're just needing some assistance for your small to medium-sized business for tax season, look no further than Denver's local Seed Money Consulting. We've been working with Shahab, Sam, and the team over there to kind of get our ducks in a row, to make sure that we leave no stone unturned and leave no dollar on the table. They have a la carte options for no matter what situation you may find yourself in, or maybe you may be like us, looking for a CFO in a box or some financial advisor. Go forward down the path. No matter the situation, they can help you out. If you're a first-timer, 1099er, you started your own business, or maybe you closed or sold one, they can help out no matter the situation. Google or go to seedmoneyconsulting.com. Tell them we sent you. They work especially with folks in our industries, the hospitality world, the content creators, those that operate in the cannabis space where things are a little bit gray. They specialize in making sure that you are taken care of and you're not fucked by the long arm of the law. All right, Chris, let's dive into it. Kip won the movie draft. It should not be any surprise now that I am obviously
a panderer.
Yeah,
genius.
I don't
How
think
the fuck did I pander? All of
I
those
don't think
movies?
whatever you were going to insert there was going to be accurate.
I didn't pander at all. I don't think y'all are gaslighting me because I'm a champion. But yes, Eve went a little bit nuanced with her high-end takes.
I didn't expect to win.
I mean,
But I didn't
Forrest
expect you
Gump
to
is
win.
not pandering. That's a movie that's based upon Chris and ours family. Like, we have a lot of people that are slow yet fast. And I felt like that was a great 1-1, and from there it was just off to the races. Y'all never stood a chance.
I think it was a stolen draft, so I
But the
can't
fact you
verify
won by
those.
so much, that's what's suspicious.
Yeah, I can't verify those results.
Well, you can find them on our social media page, in addition to all of the March Madness action. But that's not the only movie draft or movie content we had. The Oscars were last night. Anybody watch them?
I caught like the very tail end of it.
I mean, it looked like Oppenheimer cleaned up,
Yeah,
Yep.
yeah, basically.
and Ryan Gosling is the next Kip Wilson. He's just a showman. He just really has.
Yeah, I heard that was quite a entrance when he came out there with the song. I haven't seen anything on it.
He was just perched right in front, right behind Margot Robbie. So it was a great sight for everyone that liked to look at Margot Robbie. And I guess if you like Ryan Gosling singing. Speaking of what's good and what's not, Chris, you went to see Dune 2. 3 hours, you'll never get back, or how many times you masturbate?
Well, so, unfortunately at the Alamo Draft House, you don't get one of those.
You don't get to masturbate?
No. You don't get a cool worm cup thing or whatever it was.
What?
The AMC fuck
popcorn.
Okay, you talked
That's
about
probably-
masturbating and the worms, and I got...
Oh, well, Kip, yeah. Have you seen those pictures of it? It looks like the mouth of one of those
It's the AMC fuck bucket.
worms. Yeah.
I've seen Dune 1, but I couldn't remember the finer details. So I was like, I need to watch it again before I invest 3 hours to go see Dune 2.
Right.
And watching it at home, it feels like you're watching The Office, where you have to turn the volume up and turn it down, like because the audio is just like, it's loud, like drumming and like, like chorus, like bongs,
Yeah.
and then like they speak so subtly and quiet. Like you need to be in an atmosphere that's conducive for that exact movie. And I've been told the IMAX is the play. I don't know.
But no, it was great. And like the storyline really moved forward, and it was more about, I can't remember the names of all the characters. Just don't know it that
Which
well.
actress? Or
Chalamet and
Chalamet. Yeah, it was about his love story.
with Zendaya.
Yeah,
Nice.
and then kind of like more towards the end, like it's kind of him coming up to help the people of Arrakis and like do that, and then it finally, it's setting up like part 3 is going to be, it's got to be some kind of huge war because
Did
I
it
think
end on like a huge cliffhanger? Or
Yeah.
Ugh.
basically,
like a big one?
I mean,
The
there
first one
there
was a really
was
meh
some
ending as well.
the first there was some resolution to some stuff that occurred leading up to this next. So like that there was a cliffhanger, but it wasn't like it left you wondering what was still happening.
Okay. It
Like
wasn't
there's a
sudden,
future
like-
event that's going to happen.
Right. But it
Yeah.
wasn't like,
Like 9/11?
someone falls off a cliff
Yeah,
and then it
exactly.
cuts to black.
Like
sort of
Mission
bullshit.
Impossible. It wasn't like that bullshit.
That was bullshit.
Yes.
Yeah.
So no, I highly recommend it, and yeah, the special effects and all that stuff is great.
Mm-hmm.
So hopefully, like part 3 won't be like another couple years before it comes out.
I don't even remember what year or two the first one was, but at the same time,
Have they already started filming it, maybe?
I would
Sometimes they do
imagine.
that. Sometimes they film two movies
I feel
at the
like
same
these
time.
days they don't do it as often
don't
because
usually.
all these actors have so many other engagements that they're like, I can't give you 6 months to film in fucking Fiji or wherever
Yeah.
it may be. You have to do everything in your 90-day shoots or whatever. Otherwise, you can't get everybody in the same room.
And I mean,
But
and the
it used to
theater-
just be different. Jim Carrey was able to put out 5 movies in 18 months, and
Mask.
4 of them were certified bangers. And I just don't see that in Timothy Chalamet. I just don't have it. And with that high school TV show Zendaya's in, I imagine it'll be 2 years before we
Didn't
see.
that get canceled?
I don't know. Yeah, I'm sure.
Oh, Euphoria.
The one with Sydney Sweeney.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know, but either way, I'll check out Dune 2.
Yeah, so I would recommend it. I mean, even it's been out for a couple weeks now, and the theater was still selling
Full.
out.
Yeah.
Yeah, I want the fuck bucket, so I'm going to go to AMC for sure.
Do it.
I'll report back on that thing, see if it's really.
I wonder if they still
or
have it.
there's
It's
a
probably just
lot
for
of
opening.
incels.
I
that
want to
live
speak
only
to
a
the
certain-
manager if they don't.
Yeah, be like, sorry, all of the 15-year-olds came and got that before you. Be like, you know what? Never mind. I'm going to say it different. Okay, so that is called Movie Corner or Cinema Sundays, as we like to call it. Next up is a quick ad read from our friends over at Dialed In Gummies. They're the presenting sponsors of March Madness, but they've long been a favorite of the studio. We've talked about them ad nauseum, whether it's in the Denver Post, if it's in our newspapers, if we can ever do collabs, we always try to aim for the best, and Dialed In is nothing short of it. They've got a litany of different pairings. They've got SKUs across the whole state. I mean, quite literally, they partner with everyone for a rosin delicious gummy cube. They have them in 10 milligrams, and they've recently released a CBD 1-to-1. So for those looking for a milder fade, or maybe just for more of a medicinal actual benefit of it, rather than a full head buzz, they've got you covered. You can find most of those products at your local Starbuds, Emerald Field, Stanley & Kimbo, things of that nature. Actually not Stanley & Kimbo anymore. I think they've no longer doing the meds. Don't hold me to that, but I think that. But either way, check out the Dialed In Gummies. They're great products, one of the best you can find in Colorado. Speaking of Colorado, here's Colorado news presented by Dialed In. Proposals move forward for rail lines to Boulder and Fort Collins for the 18th motherfucking time. Not only does this city and state spend well beyond their goddamn budget, but now we have far-fetched hopes of eminent domain seizures and 20-year drawn-out construction projects. Chris, your thoughts on the new rail line? Fuck me right in the mouth.
Wow.
Fuck this thing.
I mean, this sounds like a broken record. And not only one, though, like, if this, I wonder, like, would RTD manage this?
I hope not.
Because
they could ruin
like
a wet dream.
that goddamn the A line to the airport was a disaster when they couldn't get the arms to work right and stuff like that. That was an absolute disaster. So I can only imagine if you have that much track, like, oh, it's never going to get done.
It just seems like we continue to like invest in projects that'll never actually come to fruition. But I mean, obviously we all want high-speed rails or even just public transit it doesn't even have to be high speed. It can move slower than my Johnson rod. I don't give a shit. It just doesn't ever come to fruition, and it's a money pit of a project every time, and we don't even have the money anymore.
Because I don't think people realize too, like these feasibility studies where they come up with these plans, those cost a shit ton of money, and typically that's just wasted now.
Well, I mean, most every dollar the government spends is wasted, but at the same time, it's infuriating, but very exciting at the same
Excel
time.
Energy could probably pay for half of it with all the
money that we haven't paid them. Yeah. Well, I mean, what their whole process of like how we have to lease energy from them for expected usage. But, you know, after speaking with our friends over at Vectra Mechanical, your local HVAC needs, Vectra, they said that they've been kind of slow as shit with like the mild winter. Like no one's like really straining their system except for us here in the studio. So oddly enough, maybe Excel will go down a little bit, but doubtful. Also in Colorado news, South Broadway store or business owners and merchants are looking to create a business improvement development committee, aka like a fucking HOA or a union, and they're going to start hiring private security because the city won't address the homelessness, drug use, and crime that is plaguing their neighborhoods. That is not a quote from the Do Better Denver people who literally get off on their own name being mentioned, so I'm sure they'll enjoy that. But it is a kind of a look into the failed policies or what is kind of hitting like it's already hit downtown, and it kind of feels like beetle kill at this point. It's like it's sucking the nutrients out of a neighborhood and they move on to another one as we continue to hear stores and like businesses are going under, moving out of town. So these people are taking it into their own hands. Chris, your thoughts?
I mean, it's just nuts because once you start focusing on one issue, like providing homes for the homeless population, like you're still battling how to do that. So like, I mean, it's just
Aurora's created a system where it's a work for stay project where like if you're working in some capacity, I don't know exactly, Mike Kaufman's not exactly like a beacon of hope in this world,
right,
but at the same time, it seems like it's a premise that could possibly work, that would show a little more respect, because these hotels that we're using and that's costing the city fortunes already, which we're already operating, like we've already had to close 4 of them. There's dead people on a daily basis. There's kids having to be rescued out of there. There's overdoses daily. Like, it's just a rotten system, and throwing money at these projects, while I know is a very large socialist concept or government-run operation, it's not actually yielding the results we want to see. We're kind of just like rotting that from the inside out as well. So I don't think there is a real answer. I think I threw you kind of a curveball, a little Tim Wakefield knuckleball, may rest in peace. Because like even they're like, we're going to have to use our profits to hire private security because our tax dollars are not being used effectively. Jesus. It's that tequila. Effectively. So it's a cause for concern, and it makes you wonder, like, how do we fix this issue? Do we ask the cops to actually start intervening? Like, do we use more of the STAR program? Do we allocate more funds to the STAR program? Like, I don't know the answer, but I always like to hear other people's opinions on it.
Yeah, I don't know the answer, but it's definitely going to be hard to, if the city kind of wants to do this revitalization of downtown area and make it more accommodating, they got to handle that. They got to figure out how to keep the streets a little bit cleaner.
And safer.
Yes.
You're exactly right. And that leads us to our next, how do we make the town more conducive to spending, shopping, tourism, and things of that nature? And the city's trying a lot of different things, including we just wrapped up Denver Restaurant Week. quite literally every chef's least favorite week, where you get a bunch of cunts come into your restaurant expecting 5-star service for a flat rate meal of $45, and then they get upset when things don't go that way and leave you a 1-star Yelp review. Let's go to our food street correspondent, Eve. Eve, how was Denver Restaurant Week?
Well, I was sick all weekend, so I did not make it out.
It's all right.
Stomach bug or?
Kind of like a cold, and felt like it could have been more, but I like chugged so much water. I didn't go to work Friday. I chugged so much water on Friday.
Okay.
So I think that really helped, and I slept so much. Because
Is
I
it
felt like it was
COVID?
like, no.
Did you bring COVID in the fucking studio?
No, I didn't.
I hope not.
Well, I'm glad it wasn't COVID. How do you feel today? Are you like above 75%?
Yeah. I think I'm just tired with the daylight savings.
Spring firewood?
And all that stuff.
It really is the worst. I've got my legs up in the stirrups. Don't worry. But no, it really you have to get not only over that hump, but like when you're just kind of like laying it around for a couple days, you have to like kind of get that engine going again. So by Wednesday's episode, you're gonna be cheery as you always are.
I will say it's kind of nice though how it stays darker in the morning. You know, like this morning I really noticed. I woke up and was thinking, it was super early, but it was actually like 7. I was like, nice. The darkness
Most people don't
kinda,
like waking up in the dark.
Huh?
Most people don't like waking up in the dark.
Oh, I like it when
I think it's like a
still dark.
downside. But I like driving home when it's light out.
That's true.
So I'll take, because the sunset is until 7 now.
Because you don't feel like you wasted your day away under fluorescent lighting. Yeah.
It's nice driving in the sun.
I think
So I'll
that's
take it.
yeah. I think I'd rather. This is definitely the optimal time. Obviously, in the summer, the sun sets super late, but like, there's no reason that we should ever do the fallback ever, motherfucking again. Like, I'm sorry if you're listening to this podcast with your kids in the car coming home from school, but you should have made better life choices than subscribing to this podcast anyway for the cursing. But it's preposterous. Like, there's no reason we should ever go back to that other system when. Like, there's
the time should just
nobody
stay.
benefits. We're not all fucking farmers anymore, and I don't even think that was a legitimate excuse.
Yeah, somebody really made that up, I feel like.
Big farm propaganda. Yeah.
And look at them now.
Big
tanking.
pharma with an F. Fuck you. Last thing before we go into the final section. 600,000 people still wait to dine at Casa Bonita, says Chef Loca, 3-time guest on this here podcast, and competitor in this year's March Madness. Chris, what are your thoughts on the 600,000 people that are just waiting outside like it's the border? Sucks for them.
I mean, I wonder, what would be interesting would be knowing, like, how many of those people that signed up for these reservations, like, are locals that live here in the Denver area, and how many people are, like, people from out of town, like, making a trip out here and trying to get in.
I think that's a fair, like...
Or out of state.
Yeah, that would be neat.
I think it's
bet.
more like South Parkers, that like fans, that cult.
Yeah.
They're not incels, so if you're listening to this, I don't think y'all are incels. Y'all are just like one stage up from them. It's those people. They're like, well, I got this reservation. Let's take our stuffed Cartman out there and get a picture with them, and just make a trip around it.
I mean, even with the
Like Sphere tickets.
Even with the redos, I've been before, but not since the redo. But even with that, I'm not going to, like, try to fight my way to get to it. I'll get there in a couple years. I'll check it out.
I'm very surprised that they're moving at this clip. And I just feel like I've eaten there a few times now with other people's reservations, media invites, and things of that nature. I'm a big deal. I don't know if you heard about it. It's just okay. The food is...
Was the restaurant full? Because when I went
No,
there,
it's only
the
like
whole bottom,
60%.
they didn't
gonna be
fill
it.
it. So
That's
if
what I was
it's
gonna
that
say.
bad, the list, why aren't they filling it?
I think it's an intended
Maybe staff
purpose.
or
it's probably
keeping
that.
it.
Like,
Maybe.
trying to make it so that you can enjoy it.
But it was like a giant room that wasn't full.
But
It
at
was
the
just
same
like,
time, like,
the
the
cave.
cave thing, yeah.
even if you have a 600,000 wait list, like adding, 60 more seats a night isn't really going to dent that wait list that much.
Still chips away.
Yeah, I agree, even. That's what I was going to say. In my 2 times, it's always been like 2/3 occupancy at most. And I think it's not to overwhelm the other stuff because you eat.
People want to get up, move
You
around,
eat
check
like
it. Yeah.
15 seconds because you go through like a cafeteria line, and then it's like, okay, I want my kid to run around and get all the sugar from the sopapillas, like run
Right.
it out. And you don't want 6,000 kids there. You just want like 240 at a time. So that's my guess. But to the 600,000 people, if you tune in, you could listen to every single one of our podcasts and still not have gotten the email from Casa Bonita. So maybe, dive deep. Check
I know
it
that's
out.
weird because my friend got it, and then I knew someone else who got tickets from the lottery. So it's like, I'm not saying she's lying, but now I'm a little suspicious. I mean, 600,000, that's just insane.
Which means that they probably had what? 1 million people that signed up at some given
Maybe
point.
initially, yeah.
But
It's
I
like
think
over a quarter of the population of Denver.
it's picking up the tourism dollars where the cannabis industry is left off, because it feels like a lot of those folks are from out of town. And I've even had other chefs ask for, hey, do you know anybody that may be able to help? And I've sent messages to no avail and gotten no dice about helping get folks in. So if you're asking me to pull some strings, I unfortunately
I'm glad I
cannot.
went then. Damn. 'Cause
Yeah.
in my head, I do want to go again. But now that I'm hearing this, I'm like,
Enjoy the fucking wait.
Guess
And I
not.
wonder if it's like a lottery system, like it's almost like reverse Hunger Games, or is it they just pick from the top?
oh, I thought it was
'Cause-
lottery.
See, I think it is lottery. So like number 69996
Just random
may get
generally.
picked before 42069, you know?
Yeah, that makes sense.
But yeah, that was the last of the Colorado news for today. In our last segment, which is presented to you by... Oh yeah, Quarterzone, thank you. Sorry, Quarterzone Reclaimed Wood. If y'all don't know them, they have helped us pimp out the studio, but they can also help you pimp out your restaurant or home as well. They take repurposed pieces of timber from not only Colorado, but around the region. So if you wanted a good oak or a nice cherry, I don't know where
Mahogany.
I don't know where the fuck those trees are, but they do. And they can make any piece turn into a lovely piece of your home. So Quarterstone Reclaimed Wood is located right here in Wheat Ridge. They're great people. Last segment of the night, best things you ate last week in March Madness. Eve, how's that chicken noodle soup you probably had like 6 times this weekend? Did you eat anything since we saw you last, or were we on a liquid diet?
Pretty much liquid diet.
Welcome to the club, but for totally different reasons.
Do you have a go? Like, now that you've been in Denver for a little bit, do you have a go-to like takeout order that you get when you're like on the mend?
Mine's always Asian noodles that are like super
Pho?
spicy. No, like I want something like a U.S. Thai or something that really knocks your pecker down. Farmhouse Thai is really good at that.
Tallywhacker?
Chris, I don't know. What
Oh,
I'm doing
okay.
with
So
you.
that was
that was
obnoxious,
gross.
but
That was-
pecker
I
was
didn't like.
okay.
I didn't like either. To be fair,
I don't.
gross.
Don't come at me
I
for
haven't
just
heard
adding another
Tallywhacker.
synonym.
Welcome to the thesaurus episode. Yvonne. Yeah. Did you have a spot you get your?
No,
go-to?
usually I'm sick. I'm just like, I'm too lazy. No, nothing's like close to me really. Like it's all chains. You know where I live. Like,
So
it's
we-
like,
Yeah. So best thing you ate last week, Eve.
water was great.
Okay.
That was the main.
Do you bite?
course.
Do you chew on ice?
No.
Not
You're not
even
supposed to do
Sonic
that.
ice.
I mean, if it's in the glass, I'll find myself doing it, but I don't like intentionally go because it's really bad for your teeth.
It is very bad. For
And
your teeth.
actually, if you do that, it can mean you have like low iron.
Are you saying my fuck sticks were done work?
Hold on. Wow.
Not my business, but you could have low iron if you're chewing like a lot.
So we
Like,
thrown up
OST,
3
not
synonyms.
I didn't say R6. I said it a couple times. I said Johnson Rod earlier.
Johnson, Tallywhacker, Pecker,
yeah, how many you
Fuckstick.
got?
They're like, this guy is impotent. No, at the same time, you're exactly right. I've been told that it's like signs, like it's not. I knew it wasn't good for you, but I've heard that it gives you signs of like other
You have an iron
stuff too.
deficiency or something. But yeah, it's bad for your teeth. But I try.
Everything's
not to chew on
bad
ice.
for your
When I
teeth.
hear someone do it, I'm like, oh.
Yeah.
Chris, what was the best thing you had last week besides ice chips?
Paint chips. No, that checks out. No, actually, I had 2 good things I would like to discuss, and they both occurred on the same day, which was Sunday. Nursing a little hangover. It was breakfast food. This is contentious because obviously you haven't had a good experience. So one of them.
I'm glad you brought
Can
this
you guess
shit
what it
restaurant.
is?
It's Call Your Mother. That place is mid as fuck.
So I've got two.
We discussed
The
it.
second one is better.
And I tried to
But
guess.
also, this is coming from a guy who doesn't really enjoy bagels. So
That's true.
What?
I prefer
he doesn't
other
like
bread.
bagels. So his
I don't hate bagels. I just prefer a nice.
Also, do you eat bagels like not toasted? Like
Oh no,
like a psychopath?
I just like them toasted with butter sometimes
mean, that's
because
fine.
I just don't like the call your mothers. But Chris has got a good story. Tell him, Chris.
Okay.
No, so I woke up kind of Sunday, feeling a little rough after a lot of bottles of vino, but I was like, I definitely want a bagel sandwich today. So I called in. I forget the name of the sandwich that I got, but it's
Thunderbird?
No, I didn't get any like meat on it. I got one with Lockies in the middle, cheddar
potato?
cheese, and chimichurri. And it's got a little bit of onions on top, like caramelized onions. And that thing slapped. Like, normally I just like, just cream cheese. But that one was good. And then Steph picked up Black Box Bakery.
And that was much better.
And yes, and let me tell you, so she got an apricot-filled croissant, but then she also got a little slice of their focaccia, and she also got a Reuben croissant. And the Reuben croissant was out of this world fucking good.
Look, we're
Like,
not
a Reuben sandwich, but it's on a croissant. Or
Like,
it's like stuff
so
cooked into it.
this is what's so great about Black Box is they can do the classics really well, but then they go far out there into space and get nuts with stuff. And so this was a Reuben sandwich contained within a croissant. So if you were to slice through the middle,
Wow.
you've got like a layer of pastrami, then you've got like the
cornshaw. No, the sauerkraut.
yeah, the sauerkraut right there, and then on this because croissants have all those little bubbles, then you have bubbles with Thousand Island in it, and it was fucking awesome. It was so cool.
We're literally doing a partnership with Black Box and Dialed In, and we'll tip our hand in a couple minutes. But it's because of how well they bring to life different flavor profiles, and then they put them in a delicious bready fucking vessel. It's exceptional.
And
the exact antithesis of Call Your Mother.
And it's crazy if I just put this croissant in front of you, you'd be like, oh, that's just a croissant. You have no idea there's Reuben in there.
And Chris, it's a lot like us. The beauty is on the inside. I'm a karate man. A bruise on the inside.
And I'm not gonna lie though, the fact that you can get just like a square slice of their focaccia, it's so goddamn good. Call Your Mother was good, regardless of how you feel about it.
That's totally fair.
Eve, I'll get you a bagel next time. Have you had a bagel from there?
It's based out of Georgetown, District of Columbia. And this is literally their second location ever was in the Highlands. And I think it's done so well, they've opened a second location here. So I tried to go after our contentious conversation about it the following morning when I was picking my car up. And the line was literally out the door and down the road. And I was like, I'm not doing this.
So pro tip, you can call, you can order online and just walk in, pick it up out the window and leave.
Yeah,
Can you do that at Black Box?
Black Box also has a pickup window on the outside of Edgewater Public Market. But at the same time, you're exactly right. You want to go inside there because they have that little display case and it shows you all the dankness. I was hitting them heavy a couple weeks ago working with them. The cheesy leek, whatever the fuck that was.
The fillings are filling.
And then they had a hot honey sausage roll that looked like a bear claw, but it was like a croissant, but it had like gaps where the sausage kind of bled through. And so it's it's like a kolache, but of like smaller like persuasion. And I was just like, motherfucker, it is so good over there. Yeah, and I think Black Box definitely, and that's not really fair to compare because one is bringing like an East Coast thing here, whereas Chef Ariel, shout out for letting me shadow y'all and Chef Ty and the whole fucking family over there. I love y'all dearly. They're like a one-off spot, so it's not like, we're taking this recipe and trying to expand on it. So I won't even compare the two. But Black Box, we'll do
and
a
they don't make bagels, right? It's just croissants.
I don't think
so. No,
I love
just
croissants.
Bakery 4 does a kick-ass
So
bagel.
I'm gonna.
And they're opening a new. Odell's is the best bagel in Denver right now.
I'm gonna report back. I'm gonna try Bakery 4's bagel this week.
Okay.
I'm gonna get out there.
And they're opening a new spot in Wheat Ridge called Rich's Bagels. which will be their bagel spot, and it's just like a casual like come in, grab a bagel schmear, hit the road kind of vibe.
Yeah, I want just like a bagel spot.
So what's the other?
That's it, Eve, and
That's
it's
it.
not far from you either. It'll be in Wheat Ridge.
Yeah.
What's the other bagel spot?
Odell's bagels
Oh, but
are
that's
the
a
best.
pop up. Okay.
Yeah. You just you can't get it regularly, and that I'll applaud. Call your mother and Black Box. They take a day or two off too, but they're at least like you can get them on a regular basis. Odell's you have to kind of go out.
Okay, well I'm gonna taste Bakery for this week, and then I'm gonna find out where this Odell place is, and then I'll give you my thoughts on those three.
Okay, there's a social media account called Takeout Bakeout Denver, and they got all of them in the course of one day, and they put them all on a spread and then did blind tastings. The video, if y'all listen to this, it's called Takeout Bakeout Denver. Go check them out. They're just kind of fresh on the scene, pardon the pun on the bread scene right there, but they're new, and somebody shared, maybe it was like a Get Right, or somebody shared their breakfast post recently, and I followed them after I watched it. I was like, fuck yes, this is I don't need some prick's personal opinion of a expensive hamburger. Give me some authentic flair, and I thought they are doing it really well. So shout out to the Takeout Bakeout Denver people. We appreciate y'all putting us on and giving us truthful, genuine reviews. And buying your fucking food. That's a novel concept for influencers.
We need to start doing some taste tests here. Like get like 3 or 4 chicken tendies. We all
right.
take a bite, because who knows? Eve may blindly love Popeyes when put to the test.
I think as we get her the spicy Popeye next time, and one of the chefs that's in our Food March Madness even said, you put Taco Bell in this region, they're going to run a fucking muck. And I think they're exactly right. Like, if we need to start doing that. I don't consider myself a connoisseur when it comes to waters or sodas, but I can tell the difference between a Coca-Cola and a Pepsi, and I think I could tell the difference between a Dasani and like an Evian.
We could even do a taste test of different fast foods sodas.
Yeah, or maybe
Sometimes
French fries
Coke.
for those that have poor taste, Chris.
Yeah, crinkle cuts.
They're the worst. Okay, so that's a very good call. Why don't we start stewing on that? And for next week's Munchie Monday, I'll bring in a taste test for everybody to do. And we'll film it, and we'll get everyone's opinion on the top 3. They'll be from local spots. We won't do it from maybe one fast food.
You got to have one fast food to throw
like
a
a
wrench
Taco
in
Bell
there.
bagel and just see. I don't know if they do bagels, but that'd be fun.
They do French fries with the nacho cheese dip, and we'll have them versus
Chicken fries?
That's Burger King. Have some couth. Okay, so best thing you ate. I also was breakfast, Chris. I went to a Bayhouse in Golden. The place was delicious. It's like I guess a Latin flair.
Is that their only location? I feel like I've heard of that name before.
I believe it is. And Mo had gotten an invite to go out there and eat, so she asked me if I wanted to go to brunch with her after we had been partying for 2 days. And to be honest, it's exactly what my doctor ordered. He said, eat fatty pieces of confit duck over a bed of fried potatoes. Not like your kind, just normal kind.
Hash.
Yeah. It was fucking delicious. And the coffee cake was fuck-worthy.
Ooh, coffee.
I do love a good coffee cake.
It was gooey and dense, and it was topped with blueberries. So, like, that light bit of tart, like, they're not really that. And they give, so, like, it meshed beautifully, both in flavor, and then a little bit in a texture change because of that crunching through a blueberry right into a gooey cake that tastes like it has the texture of like, oh, I just did one of those mouth like foam things for the dentist, but it's all sugar delicious.
Yeah, and it melts. It doesn't stick
it's so
there.
Good, yeah. But it literally felt like that. I was like, ah. And then like it kind of like melds together in the bite on your tongue.
There's nothing worse than like. Coffee cake has to be moist because there's nothing worse than dry coffee cake.
Yeah, or if it's not, or like if if the butter has like its own little section in the bite, like it didn't like separate and then get back together, so you get a bite and you're like, oh, that was all just like butter. Like it wasn't all like, or it was all just like straight burnt sugar. Like I feel like you can have a bad coffee cake, but this one was not. It was very good, and it makes me think about it right now, and I get all excited like a kid that got a new puppy. That was my best bite. Anything that we missed before we dive into the madness?
No.
No.
All right, last one. Lovable losers. Shout out to our friends over at Softa. one-time guest on the pod, Chef Alone Shia of Softa fame, New Orleans boy, Philadelphia boy, Fly Birds Go, or whatever you'll say. We love you dearly. We didn't get to see nearly enough of you, but our vegan friends from Somebody People just went right after them and took them to the shed. It was an onslaught. It was a peppering, and Chris, through one full day, we're not even fully a day in, we're seeing record numbers, like already over 1,000 votes in the 6 hours before like we record this. Like it's
so much fun.
It is fucking contentious already. And same could be said for our friends at Right Cream. David, you've gone from not just a great ice cream spot to a great ice cream spot that also does hamburgers. You found your new home right there in Wash Park, so we don't see you as often, but a lot of people do. And you put up a hell of a fight against a pizza staple of the low-high nature and Redeemer. We wish you nothing but the best this spring and summer. And if y'all have not tried the Right Cream ice cream, it's fucking delicious. Eve, you would like it. You really would. It's high-end ice cream, like fancy boy ice cream. It's good.
Okay.
Chris, you want to do the ode to Sonny's Mediterranean, who lost to Mr. Oso?
You know, it is what it is. It happens.
That's
sometimes.
The worst fucking ode I've ever heard.
No, I'm getting into it.
We need to have Sarah McLachlan
Tough
cued
shit.
underneath it. Yeah. Damn it. Go ahead. Go.
Yeah, I was getting into it. Sometimes, you get the ball just doesn't fall your way. And in this case, Sonny's is fairly new. I would just like to give a shout out to say that it really is an awesome, I think they're open Wednesday through Sunday. So if you're getting that midweek, like where you've run out of leftovers and you need a nice weeknight meal, Sonny's hits all the mark. And this guy, the husband and wife team that opened it, he is from New Orleans originally, and he worked at Softa for a little bit while they were working on opening up their concept. But I highly recommend it, and if you haven't gotten there, like, it's a husband and wife team. They're great. And the fucking pita sandwiches slap.
They also serve natty wine. So as we get into that warm, chillable red, macerated whites, funky and fun season, it's a perfect place to dine in and dine out real quick, or sit down and have yourself a nice little pita or bowl.
And I think this would tickle your pickle. It's another synonym.
Count it. Penis count. I think we're at 8.
But you love croutons on salads.
I love bread on anything.
Yes. So, I mean, on some of their salads, though, and I've never seen this really. I mean, obviously it's nothing new or novel, but they have, like, pita croutons, which you wouldn't really think, but they slap on a fucking salad. I'm not lying.
You make me laugh. I love you dearly. You're like, they have a totally different bread as a crouton, and I'm in.
Yeah, it's almost like a pita chip, but on a salad. It's fantastic.
Yeah, they're usually in strip form, but at the same time, not mad about it. And yeah, Sonny's right there in the low-high Highlands area.
Right across from Spuntino.
Yeah, it's their first bracket. I'm sure they'll be back, but I know they're one of your fan favorites, and I think they got in off of your campaigning as well. I'm a man of the people. I listen, the same way Pete Buttigieg got his position at the Department of Transportation.
Really wishes he could crawl that back.
Yeah, he's like, God damn it, any other part
Airplanes are falling out of the sky.
Yeah, it's a tough week to be United Airlines, but I still love them dearly. And then our last fallen angel, which is awkward us to say that after United Airlines, but Split Lip. The location inside number 39. I've done a review for their cheeseburgers before. They have a very fun and inventive crew and food menu, and I think this is their first year being in the competition as well, and I would imagine that once more folks are starting to eat there more regularly, I feel like folks go to number 38 because that's where it's inside of number 38. It's the party scene in there, and it's great for like springtime sports like volleyball and shit, for intramurals and watching playoffs. But the food there is actually really fucking good. So I think Split Lip, we'll see them again. This isn't the last time, Chris.
Okay, yeah, and I didn't know much about that spot, so I need to put that on my list.
You'll like it. I really do agree.
One thing I just wanted to say, we're talking about like spring season upcoming and stuff, and I would be remiss not to mention that Out in the Field has two things.
$400 dining tickets again?
Yeah, but they're coming here in Colorado to MacArthur Gulch for anybody interested.
Who are the chefs?
I know those are expensive and they're crazy, but it does seem like a really cool thing that supports local farmers and things like that.
And yeah, our friends, Kelly Whitaker, Chef Michael over from our De Leon Diaz, who formerly of Bruto, have done it in years past. Caroline Glover at Annette has done it. It's a creative concept that we have tried to mimic time and time again, and has only proved to be the largest motherfucking headache I have every single year. So I give nothing but a tip of the cap. But by God, $400 is so much. That's a lot of money, and especially as folks are everything is costing more these days. It's hard. It just makes me I want to go, but I don't know if I have. Can I spend $800 for date night? That's a lot for dinner.
No, I mean, yeah, that's like
that's where
that's like a milestone. So, I want to do one day, and I get it that it's crazy expensive and it's out of what I can afford. But I would imagine that, a milestone like a big birthday or some kind of celebration, that would be an awesome way to experience something. I mean, the setups look really fucking cool.
I know they always.
If nothing else, just take a gander at
even the ones in the other cities, like the ones where they do it based off of the break of the ocean. So these chairs are in a like a half moon eve.
They do,
and they'll be right, and the water stops. They know exactly where the water will break at 6:20 on the beach. So none of the tables get hit by the water. So the water would rush up to right here on the table. That's how methodical they are with their planning. And meanwhile, they have these Michelin star chefs that are churning out family style 5-star or 5-course dishes
and wineries.
Oh yeah, it's unbelievably amazing, and something that one day we should at least either go as a group to once we sign some large contract.
But
with,
they'll do them in the
Netflix.
middle of cities and stuff. It's cool.
Yeah, they did one in San Francisco, going down one of those running roads, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
It's really neat. So, Chris, that's a good call. Out in the field. Tickets are available.
Yep, they just released them.
Anything else that we missed, Steve?
No.
Well, until next episode, we want to say, don't forget to stay high, stay hungry.
Get into the madness.
Yay, Oscars. I don't know.
Don't chew on your eyes.
Don't chew on your eyes.
Cheers!
For the doctor.